Can we save this symmetry vase from the dump? We'll use the circular pattern command, intersection curve command, and revolved cutout command to try to save it. The actual vase is actually really nice, but this insert at the top is almost rusted right through, and it's just light metal. It's not really worth saving. So we're going to see if we can model up a replacement and 3D print it. So we're going to start off by creating a sketch, and I'm going to create it on the top plane here. We can begin by creating a circle, and for the center point of the circle we can put in the origin of our coordinate system and just give it any diameter. And I'm just going to use a smart dimension, click on the circle, and now type in 120 millimeters for our diameter. We can accept this auto scale notification. Alright, so that's kind of the overall size of our circle, and as well we can also put into our sketch where the holes would be placed. So we know for starters there's going to be one hole on the center, and we can give that a diameter 12 millimeters, and we can put one hole directly above it, and we can put another hole directly above it. So I can give this hole here, we can constrain it now with that dimension, so it's already 12 millimeters, so we just give it the smart dimension just to constrain it permanently. And we could put a dimension on both of these circles here, but I suppose the most important thing, if I ever did decide to update or change this dimension, is that all of the other holes are the same size. So instead of putting in a smart dimension, let's give this an equal relationship. So we can say this and this, and then we can say this and this. And I just noticed that the relationships haven't shown on my sketch, and that's because relationship handles here has been turned off for some reason. So I'm going to click on that to enable it, and now we see the equal sign has shown up. And another relationship we can add is horizontal vertical, so we can make the center of this circle vertical above the center of our coordinate system, and the center of this circle vertical above the center of our coordinate system, the origin of our coordinate system. Alright, so now we just need to give them a kind of a position relative to the rest of the sketch. So I'm going to use the smart dimension command, and its default here is use dimension axis. That's from the last time it was used. I'm not sure what setting is there, what dimension axis was used last, so we could use horizontal, vertical, or automatic. I'll just leave it on automatic. And because I've taken measurements to make this, instead of dimensioning from the center of the circles, which I would normally do, I'm going to use a tangent dimension, which is the actual measurement I took. So I'm going to make a tangent dimension between these two circles. Click there, and we can put in a value of 8.3. Press enter, and we can do the same again between these two circles and put in a dimension of 10.3. Press enter. Okay, so now our circles are fully constrained in the sketch, all turned black. Next, we're going to extrude to give this a little bit of thickness. So I'm just going to close the sketch and go open up the extrude command. We have in our extrude options, we can choose select from sketch, and I can just click on the outline of our circle. I'm not going to choose any of the other circles here, and we can tick this box to accept it. We're choosing to extrude a one-sided extent, so in one direction, and it's going to be a finite extent. We're going to enter the distance we want to extrude. So I'm just going to point the mouse up, type 20, and press enter, and we can still actually choose which side we want to extrude, so below our top plane or above it. So let's click while preview is showing above it, and that's our extrude finished. We can accept the default name and click finish, and we can leave that extrude open there, and instead of having an automatic extrude operation, we could choose a cut, and we're still in select from sketch. So this time I'm going to choose this circle here. I'm going to tick that box, and this time we can choose through all as our extent, and we still have to give it a direction, so down it doesn't cut anything, up it cuts right through, and we can click finish, and that feature is done. And we can do the exact same again, so we can do it for this hole here. Tick that box, point up, click, and we're done. So finish, and we can do it for this one. And instead of even ticking this box, I'm just going to right click to accept it, and I'm going to click up here, and it cuts right through, and I right click to finish. So we can see the features now, and we can see the sketch. So I'm just going to hide that sketch just to tidy things up a little bit. So we have our solid part and 3 holes in it, and we created those 3 holes as 3 separate features. We want to pattern these features. So I'm going to click on the pattern command. For the pattern type, we can, if it's at anything else, we can change it to circular, and the placement type we can leave a quick pattern. And now it's saying in our prompt bar, click on a feature, and here in our box it's saying selection type feature. So I'm going to just choose this hole here, this cutout, as our feature, and I can tick this box to accept it. And now we see something going on here. Let's take a look at our prompt bar again. Click on a face, axis, or plane to position the circular pattern axis. So we're actually previewing our circular pattern, and this arrow here is the center of our pattern, and we want the center of our pattern to be in line with the center hole of our part. I'm just going to hover over the center hole here, and you can see the hole actually selected, and you can see that our arrow, our kind of steering wheel arrow, has popped to the origin of our coordinate system. It's right along that axis of the center hole. So I'm just going to click while that's highlighted. You can see this count box here is at 4 from the last time this command was used. I can actually, even if I move my cursor over it, I can use my scroll wheel to change that number. Yeah, so we can get a feel there. So there's 8, 10 holes. Because that text is highlighted, I'm going to type 5 and press enter. And that feature has been recreated. Click finish now. So now we can do the same thing again for this outer hole pattern. So I'm going to click on pattern, again circular. So the feature I'm going to select is this hole. Right click to accept that. And the center is going to be the same center as the last time, the center hole of our part. Click on that. And this time the count, I'm going to type in 10. Press enter, and we can zoom out and we can see our part. And I'm going to right click to accept that and finish. So now we have kind of the basis of how we want our part to look. We just want that kind of nice curved finish on the top. So to get that, I'm going to go to the surfacing tab, select the intersection command. For select set 1, I'm going to choose the part we just created. And for select set 2, I'm going to choose our front plane and click finish. And maybe it's a good idea to change our background color here, because this isn't doing us any favors. And all that's really doing is showing us where that plane cuts through our part. So if I hide the design body, we can see this is where the plane cuts through our part. So let's turn on the design body again, and we can use that intersection now as a basis for a sketch. So I'm going to just click cancel here, go to home, sketch, click on the front plane, and I'm going to start off by creating a line. So, okay, just make it vertical, and I'm going to use a smart dimension to make it 2mm long. Press enter. Okay, so that's a start, and now I'm going to make some more lines, but these are going to be construction lines. So I'm going to make a line here, it's going to be vertical, and another line right on the edge of our hole, that's going to be vertical. So I just right clicked to exit those lines, and I'm going to put a dimension on this line here, and that's going to be 15.5. This one we're going to make 8.8. Oh, I didn't place it. Okay, so I'm just going to right click to exit out of that because that's gone a little bit wrong. So I create another dimension here, type in 8.8 and press enter. And I actually want to make one more line. Again, vertical, right click to exit, smart dimension, and make this line 14.7. Okay, so we also want to kind of constrain these vertical lines here horizontally. So I'm going to make a dimension from the outside of our part to this line. That one is 15mm, and do another one here, which is 34mm. So now they're all fully constrained, and this last line here is on the edge of our part, so that's okay. So now we can create a spline, and I'm just going to go with the default options for that. So we're going to go from the end of this line we just created. Actually, maybe I'll hide the intersection and hide the design bodies. So I'm going to make a line from the end of this line here to the end of this line, to the end of this line, to the end of this line. Now I'm just going to right click to exit out of that command. Yeah, I just don't like this. It's not curved enough. It's very kind of linear here. It's a little bit curved at the top, but it's just not, I don't think it's great. So I'm looking for something a little bit more curvy. So I'm going to start off by maybe selecting the lines to mirror, choose the mirror command, and now our prompt bar is saying click to draw the first point of the mirror line, or click a line to mirror about. So for the first point of the mirror line, I'm going to click on the origin of our coordinate system, and I'm just going to click vertically above it to create our mirror line. So now we've mirrored those parts. I'm going to right click to exit that command. So now we can have a look at circle by 3 points, and I'm going to choose one of the points here, one of the points there, and the other point here. And yeah, that's a much nicer curve for me than what we created with that spline. So I'm going to choose select, click on that spline, and maybe just delete it. I'll delete the mirror image of it as well. Alright, so it's not quite the same height where we took our measurements, but for me it's a lot more, just better looking for me, curvy. So next we can create a line from our origin. We're going to turn off create as construction, and we just make this line vertical. We go across horizontally, but we want to be vertical. We want it to end vertically above this line here. So I kind of go down here just to say, hey, Solid Edge, keep an eye on this line here. And now I go back up and you see Solid Edge tracking me vertically. It's automatically kind of inferring that vertical relationship. It's snapped to make the line minus 180 degrees. So it's horizontal. And so if I click, well, we're there, and now I can move down and end this line at the end of the other line. Right click to exit out of the line command. Let's just take a peek at our design bodies. So we're fine, we're bigger than the design body, so that's all we really need to be, the same size or bigger. So I'm just going to stick a dimension here. I'm not too worried what the value is, that's fine. I just press enter. So that is a fully constrained, those 3 lines now. And I'm going to go to the trim command, trim our circle and trim it again and again and again. We're just going to window select those 4 lines we merged and hit the delete button. We don't need those anymore. And I'm going to go to toggle between design and construction. So just toggle this single line. And maybe we can put a smart dimension on this to constrain its radius. And if I create a line as construction, and I'm just going to hover over this circle and then go down to the center of the circle and click there to go and make it from the center of the circle to the center of our origin, and I'm just going to right click. So now that line has fully constrained our circle and everything is fully constrained. So we're going to take a look at our design body again, turn that on. So what we want to do now is we want to revolve this sketch here, and we're going to, instead of adding material, we're going to cut it out in a cut revolve. So I'm going to tick on this box to close our sketch, click finish and cancel, and we can use the revolve command. The operation, we can use automatic or we can choose cut. So I'm going to choose cut just to be sure, and I'm going to select this region, cut. If you're not sure if it's visible or not, you can hide your design body and you can see that whole area selected. So we can show our design body again, tick this box. The next step in our workflow here is select axis. So I could just choose the Z axis here, or I could choose the cylindrical hole. They're both the same axis effectively, and we can go back up here, click to accept the displayed side or select another side in the view. So let's take a look now. Okay, so Solid Edge is saying, do you want me to cut everything outside of this area we created or inside? So I'm going to choose click while this arrow is facing inside, and we have operation unsuccessful. So let's take a look at that. So I click OK. Okay, you can see what's wrong here actually. So let me just hide the design body while we look in this sketch. And the problem Solid Edge is having here is we have this closed area, but we also have this line here which is going outside our closed area, which Solid Edge can't really make sense of what's going on with this line. So I'm going to go to draw profile. So we're back into our sketch, and I'm just going to go to trim, just trim this line here. Now that's made another problem for us, because now we no longer have that line fully constrained and we no longer have our circle fully constrained. So I'm going to create another line, but this time it's going to be a construction line from this point here to the origin, and right click to exit, and I'm going to give that line a dimension, and that fully constrains that line, which fully constrains this line, which fully constrains this circle. Before we go any further now, I'm going to show the design bodies, tick this box to exit out of our sketch, and now we go forward in our revolved cut, and you can see we have this nice circular shape here. I'm just going to click finish here, and that's our part. In our next video, we'll model the base of the vase, put both parts together into an assembly and check for any issues before printing.